Indiana Jones, Indiana It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, everybody. This is the show where we watch and discuss the film Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, 3 minutes at a time. My name is Tom Taylor.
My name is Pete Mumbert.
And my name is Ed Barnhart.
Hey!
Hey, welcome, Ed.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Excellent.
I'm so thrilled. We had you on last season for Crystal Skull, but I'm on record many times of being a huge fan of your great courses about ancient Mesoamerica and South America and North America.
Well, thank you very much. I have a latest one out, too, that if you haven't seen that one, I've got 12 lectures on the Olmecs out there.
I haven't. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet,
that's
but I'm
my
excited
newest
about that
great
one.
courses, and it's been getting pretty good reviews.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
And don't everyone freak out. We are supposed to have Jerry here, but this is an extra exciting episode because he's literally racing home. I guess you don't race home in LA traffic, but he's rushing home as fast as he can. And let's see if he shows up in time for the episode before we're all done.
I picture him in one of those Indiana Jones car chases.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He's fighting his way here through the Nazis.
He should get a tuk-tuk, shouldn't he, for living in Los Angeles? He could zip through the traffic more easily.
I think a more accurate picture would be if you've ever read the Richard Scarry books, like one of those cars.
It's a little pig with a hat.
Yeah.
Perhaps he'll have to jump on a horse at some point to get here. I don't know.
And the horse is wearing a hat too. Well, we were talking about minutes 148 through 150, and guess what? There's still credits. I think it's just going to be credits for the rest of this movie. That's what I think. These begin with the end of the appropriately long list of stunt performers, and then we get 6 or 7 visual effects houses, and then these minutes end with a big block of musicians.
There were 3 things that stood out to me slightly. One, I thought it was interesting. Thomas Kretschmann, who played Colonel Weber, was the German language consultant.
Oh, really? I missed that. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that he was kind of doing double duty.
Yeah.
I was thrilled that they had Foley artists. I always like that feels like such a kind of old timey thing. I'm thrilled that they do it.
It seems to still be a vibrant, industry. Like people still rely on that and do it. And it seems like they do it in the old timey ways. Like, here, I need a bag of sand and a boot and a cabbage, and a chain and a cabbage, yeah. And a baseball.
Are those the sound effect guys? I have to admit, I don't know what that is.
It's like the very sort of mundane background, like putting down a coffee cup, your leather jacket is rustling, footsteps, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Some guy just punching a steak in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I had a buddy that did some work at some contract work up at Lucas in the Foley room, and it was literally, I think, a room that had just all kinds of crazy props, and people would just record like stuff you would never expect, but it makes the perfect sound.
Wow. No, I didn't want lima beans. I needed lentils to drop on the thing, to drop on the glass container.
And there's a guy standing there like
those guys were so creative.
Yeah. And they sit there and perfectly in time with the action, they'll be clopping, coconuts together to be the hooves of a horse or whatever.
We've seen that.
But my third note caught me off guard a little bit. LiDAR scanning. There was a LiDAR scanning team on this movie. And I here in San Francisco, we have robot cars that use a lot of LiDAR. And I know in archaeology, Ed, there's a lot of LiDAR, but I didn't realize it was used in movies. But apparently LiDAR is what they use to stitch together CGI and filmed scenes, or they create really, really hyper accurate virtual models that they can test out scenes in before they film them.
Fascinating. I could see that happening. I mean, a LiDAR of a modern city or an area where an ancient one was could be really used to create that accurate model. Not that Indiana Jones is all that interested in being accurate.
Stop. But, what are you saying?
But potentially, if they wanted to go there, that'd be the route.
Now, wait. I'll admit I do not know what LiDAR is. Is that that's a device? Is it an element? from the moon? What is lidar?
It's kind of like the new form of satellite imagery. It's
Oh, okay, okay.
light detection and and ranging something that light
Sure.
detection range. It's a technique where it's like satellite imagery, but it can be done from a plane or a drone, and it sends down literally millions of lasers a second, and they all try to hit the ground. And as they bounce through trees and other things, they create this very accurate model. So when
Wow.
they go through leaves, the light's still going, but it's partially obscured. And so together with these millions of laser points, they can actually make a map of the topography, but also the jungle or trees over it. And then they can strip those things that the light
Wow.
partially went through off to reveal a very accurate landscape. And it's also, it not all lidar is the same, but the most accurate lidar can be just centimeters of resolution. I mean, the best stuff you
Wow.
can see a bottle cap on the ground.
Man.
That's crazy.
So you could literally like be flying over a rainforest, and I have no idea if there's a civilization down there or if there ever was. Then you shoot it with lidar. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but and then you can kind of basically get an idea of what's under the canopy of the rainforest.
It takes a lot of software processing and manipulation of the data, the raw
Yeah.
data. But yes,
Wow. That's very
and
cool.
it's going to become, it's one of these things that's like very complicated and cumbersome and proprietary software right now, but
Hmm.
that can't last forever. It's just going to
Mm.
get better and faster and more open source. And one of these days, we really are going to be able to pull a Star Trek where we just scan the entire Amazon and find things. That's
My
not
tricorder.
today,
I have
but
my
I think it's
tricorder
coming.
right here, so
Oh, nice.
I'll have my lidar device put into this tricorder.
Is that an actual tricorder?
It is. I don't want to derail the show, but yes, it is.
Is that a
pretty
mixed
awesome.
blessing though? I like is that does that open a lot more up to say, Indiana Jones style grave robbers or if everybody has access to this software?
Well, potentially, yes. People are already finding all sorts of ruins just with Google Earth. The question is,
Really?
are they going to get there? That what finding something in the middle of the Amazon on lidar is one thing. Going there is entirely another.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
like, would I can imagine something making detection that much easier. Would people ever, would archaeologists get to the point where like, oh yeah, we found this thing and it's really awesome. We wouldn't have been able to do this before, but I miss the old ways. I miss chopping through the jungle and getting to things, getting your hands dirty. But it sounds like you still have to chop through the jungle and get your hands dirty.
You still do. Maybe I'm just old school, but I think that we haven't lost our jobs to computers quite yet. A recent example that was very, very exciting is that a LiDAR study in Mexico has detected another 200 plus potential Olmec sites, these
Wow.
Whoa.
huge
Wow.
platforms that are like a kilometer long. We've seen them on LiDAR now. Some of them, all of them need to be ground truthed. But to me, it almost makes my heart sink like, oh my God, 200 sites in the middle of that godforsaken swamp. Who's going to die getting there?
Sounds like a lot of work, but somebody's got to do it.
Are there going to be more heads pop up?
Oh yeah, there's going to be more heads. In fact, right now, the site that's produced the most heads has a very dynamic new young team of people, and I'm watching everything. I stalk them on Facebook. They're going to find another head. I know they are.
That's exciting.
The site's called San Lorenzo, and
Oh yeah.
the apprentice of the last archaeology master named Ann Cyphers. Her apprentice is Virginia Arietta, and she is a smart cookie and has a very good team. I think she's going to find another one here in a couple seasons or two.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Wow.
exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Well, so you mentioned that you watched this whole film just for little old us, and I appreciate that. We both do. I'm sure Jerry does wherever he is. Godspeed, Jerry. I guess first I'll just start with the simple. So we're sitting here in the theater during the end credits. We're starting to chat about what we just saw. Did you enjoy this Indiana Jones adventure?
I did. I did.
All
You
right.
know, I, like you guys, have just, bought into the whole world. So I don't care if it's crap. I'm just happy to have more.
That's the pull quote on the poster.
If our podcast were a book, that could be a blurb on the back too.
Yeah.
I am honest in that. There's always been things I disagree with. I have actually, somewhat inspired by you guys, an episode on my podcast, Archeo Ed, where I talk about the troubling things of Indiana Jones and whether we archaeologists really do that stuff or not. And it was fun, and it was inspired by you guys kind of picking it apart.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome. That was a great episode. I highly recommend everybody listen to that. Well, I've got
I liked to the point where I had to admit that sometimes I do hire children, but I treat them better than he does.
One thing, it feels like one thing in this movie that did make me think of you, Ed, was so they're going after this device, the Antikythera mechanism, and the real life version seemed like a very precise, like groundbreaking piece of equipment technology that tracks or at the time not archeo, but just astronomical positions. And I know you've talked a lot about archaeoastronomy. Has there ever been a movie that addresses archaeoastronomy in a good way, or that?
Well, it's used it a lot. It's the cornerstone of Ancient Aliens.
Or Stargate?
But yeah, the Antikythera device was an interesting one that they chose that. I've been looking forward to brainstorming with you guys about all of the artifacts through the entire franchise. I think that the Antikythera is the first ever artifact that they chose as the main artifact of the movie that actually exists.
Yeah.
The other ones are legends, the Ark of the Covenant, the Grail, these Sankara stones.
Yeah.
Even the Cross of Coronado are all just made up.
Yeah.
And all the other artifacts in this movie are made up, but the Antikythera device exists. I have seen it in the museum in Greece.
Yeah.
And there are tons of studies on it. And it was a unique moment in this franchise that they chose to use an artifact that exists and so alter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've talked a lot about that, and especially Pete, because he knows more about this stuff than I do. But I don't think we've ever just flat out said this is the first one that actually exists. We've said, oh, it's the first one that's kind of like mathematical, and that people kind of know about it more and stuff. But it actually is the first.
Even
one
that sphere of
happened.
Longinus, which you guys say your running gag with Longinus was golden.
What are we gonna do? It's sitting right there.
It's the only one that we can actually say we know that. Everything else is like a shade of something else. The Graphicos is not a real artifact, but it is. Once he revealed its circular form, it looks just like the Fiastos disc. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's something found in the palace in Crete. But what a weird move that they so altered an artifact that you can Google.
Yeah.
or visit.
So in its actual form, and in reality, the Antikythera, is basically just like an astronomical device for what, tracking?
Well, it is
or...
it's an enigma of an artifact. It's made of many gears. I think that the latest studies are saying there are 37 gears inside of it, but the artifact itself was in terrible condition when they drug it out of the sea.
Yeah.
So we can see these gears, and they hypothesized that it belonged in a box, kind of like the shape of a grandfather clock, and that it had a face with many arms, that it did the Olympic cycle, it did the 5 planets, it did the moon and the sun, and somebody said it might have predicted eclipses.
Oh, wow.
But it was a very, very complex device. We've never found anything else like it. I don't like
Wow.
enigmas like that, but it definitely exists. And people want to connect it to Archimedes. The movie certainly did.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so in real life, it's not necessarily. We don't know that it was
No, the
Archimedes.
connection's pretty loose, really, to
Oh, really?
Archimedes.
Okay.
There are things that he made that were similar clocks with gears, but the ones that were described by the Romans were spheres. They were almost like a globe, where his mechanism did have gears on the inside, but it wasn't this, flat kind of clock looking thing. Instead, it was a globe, kind of like a fancy astrolabe.
Okay.
To me, the interesting thing is I feel like when you actually look at the Antikythera mechanism and the incredible engineering at the time and the mystery behind it, it seems like the actual device is a lot more interesting than the kind of metaphorical device they turn it into in this movie.
Well, I don't know. I mean, an artifact that'll bring me back in time.
I mean, I
sounds pretty kick-ass. But it is fascinating. That's, more and more with the kind of alternative archaeology that's just dominating the internet. It's frustrating to me that we can't get a chance to talk about how fascinating real artifacts are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds
But-
like, as a layman, it doesn't sound like it's too much. Like, if it is like, if the real one is tracking stars and seasons and possibly eclipses and stuff, if there were, it seems like the leap the movie makes is that there are fissures in time that Archimedes also knew about, and he built his thing to work that into his Antikythera too, that it would track those as well. Like, it's still a kind of like timing tracking device, but it's tracking something bizarre that they made up for the
Right.
movie.
The storyline goes that as he was looking at the synchronicities of cycles and adding them into one magnificent device, that he also found what they call fissures in time.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't quite track, I was looking to see, is there a time increment he's talking about? We go from like 1969 to 1939, but then we go back to like 215 BC. That didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, is it a 30-minute? Is it a 30-year increment, or is it more? I don't know.
Some fissures are big. I don't know.
That
Yeah.
didn't work there.
We struggled with that as well, and we got nowhere.
So that was but an interesting concept that there would be, he found a hidden cycle that somehow people could move between. I'm comfortable suspending my disbelief. It
There
was
you
a
go.
good story.
Yeah.
So if you could suspend your disbelief even more, and somehow you had a time travel device in front of you and you could choose to go back anywhere, A, where would you go? And B, would you, like Indiana Jones, want to stay?
Oh, well, those are two different questions. Let me get to the first one first, which kind of, as an actual archaeologist, Indiana Jones here in this situation where he's old and sad and he's ruined his life and just fallen asleep with scotch in his hand, it kind of like personally stung me. Like, geez, I don't want to be like that guy. Maybe if I had nothing to live for like Indiana Jones, I'd want to stay back there. But no, I think I would come back. I've actually been recently asked this same question on this odd not debate I was on Doha Debates. They asked everybody on the panel this question, so I'll give you my answer I gave to them, which is I would go back to Peru around maybe 1480, 1500, just before the Spanish show up, with enough time to learn. But I would want to become the student of a Kipu Kamayak, the guys who made their knotted string records.
Oh, yeah.
And could read them and write them. Because we have like 1,000 of them, and we know it's a written language, but in knots.
Wow.
But we don't know how to read it. If I could go
man.
back and learn from them, I could come back and say, I know what all these Kipus say.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an undeciphered language of a society that was 10 million people. So that'd be my one.
Oh, that's
But I
a good
would come
one.
back. I'm not going to live there. They don't have. They don't even have cable TV.
Oh my God. So sad. Just got chills.
Yeah, it was interesting. We went back and forth on that about if we bought Indiana Jones being dedicated enough to the past that he wanted to live there, or if it was just that he was so unhappy in the present that he didn't really have a choice.
That was kind of my take. Like,
Yeah.
life sucks up there. I'll
Yeah.
just stay here and hang out with Archimedes and
Yeah.
and destroy the timeline.
Right. Because I mean, that question raised the further question, like, because I was stuck when he said that, I was stuck on, wait, does the Indiana Jones of Raiders of the Lost Ark, do you see Indiana Jones as caring that much about history, like he's embracing it and it's his deep rooted love and obsession, or is he kind of like after the trinkets and the gewgaws and the fame, the fortune and glory?
Oh, that's a good question. I do believe Indy's heart is in the history, and he is truly passionate about discovering the mysteries. So I think his motivation would have at least in part been to just talk with Archimedes and see
sure.
things. I think it certainly. I don't think Indiana was ever about the money. He might have been
Right.
about the fame a bit.
Yeah, or at least the chase or something. I
Yeah, the
wasn't even sure that
acquisition.
he was into
Yeah,
the
the
fame
adventure.
that much.
The
Yeah, the
adventure.
adventure. The,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wasn't it sad when Sala was just, take me with you. I can be good.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that was hard.
Stand back, old man. I'm doing it on my own.
You stay here and play with your
You're dried up.
grandkids.
Go drive your taxi.
That broke Pete's heart pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it did all of us, but that took me a while. When I think back, it took me a while to
man.
actually get that all you had to do in that scene, and you and Jerry, Pete, you and Jerry figured it out way before I did. All you had to do is be like, hey, Indiana Jones is like, hey, Sally, you want to come with me? Where are you going? I got your passport. No, Indy, that's okay. You go on without me. I've
Yeah,
had my
just-
adventures.
yeah.
I miss the desert. I miss the sea. But you know what? I'm here, and I got my grandkids. I had that
Such
adventure.
a
It's
better
cool.
final moment for
Yeah.
Sala's appearance in this franchise.
Yeah.
That hurt my heart too. Like, don't do him like that, Indy.
Yeah.
You're an old fart too.
Yeah.
Come along. Let's have like one of those geriatric Star Trek adventures where all the guys get to be back there.
At least they talk about being old on those.
Well, so if he had, he always talked about Salah being the best digger in Egypt, and it seems like he used him on more than one project. As a working archaeologist, did you tend to have a same crew that you would have with you every season, or would it be whoever shows up that year?
A mixture. The leaders were oftentimes trusted guys who were back every season, and we would oftentimes you leave that, who are the rest of the crew, to them. Like, Sala, you know these guys, who's trustworthy, who's not, and a leader like Sala would pick the crew, and they would train people. The trouble in reality is that crew that returns, that comes just 1 or 2 seasons, they learn just enough from you to be excellent looters, and then go off to seek their own
Yeah.
fortune.
Yeah.
That's the reality. So it's finding trusted guys who won't take the things we've taught them and go just become looters.
Yeah. That seems like a lot of work to go to just to be a thief. I always think that, like, in crime movies, like, gosh, if these people just like got real jobs and they got so much energy and time and they're so smart, like, why do they spend their time doing illegal stuff? Why don't they just do it the right way? They could still excel.
Well, I mean, the reality is, for people that live in different economies in the third
Sure.
world, is that, if you can find an artifact
Yeah.
that somebody from Europe or America wants to buy, it can make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it'll make them a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, a common story in where I was in the Maya area would be, somebody's a corn farmer and they have a big family, but they put their corn in the ground, and then they've got a couple months to just wait and hope it works out. And so at that time, they can just go into the jungle and they can go find a building and dig into it. And if they find a painted pot, they can go into the main city and talk to somebody and maybe sell that pot for $600,
Wow.
Yeah.
which is a huge amount of money in
Yeah.
Guatemala. but
Yeah.
then the next guy sells it for 6,000, and then the
Yeah.
final guy
Yeah.
sells it for 60,000.
Yeah.
So that guy still got ripped off, but it's worth his time.
Yeah.
How do you vet people? How do you is it just talk to a
It's
lot of
hard.
people? And,
It's hard,
yeah.
honestly. I mean, I personally have vetted very few people, and but I know I've returned to in places where this is our crew guy, this
Uh-huh.
is our crew manager, and we're going to depend on him. We know his heart's in the right place,
Uh-huh.
and he's going to pick the best guys he can. But even he can be fooled. I mean, it's guile's an old game.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Do you often see people that say that get hired to be crew just develop a passion for the archaeology or for their own local history and for everything that's happened?
I think that happens more often than the turn looter scenario.
Oh,
nice.
good.
I think
Nice.
people get personally involved and really connected to, these are my ancestors. This is really me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
yeah.
I'm discovering parts of me.
That's
So
very
that
cool.
kind of beautiful personal experience, in my experience, happens more often than, boy, I could sell that for a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, that reminds me of I think it was in your Mesoamerica great course, and you were talking about when they were trying to decipher the Mayan language, and how for a long time there was such a Eurocentric bias that people didn't make a connection that what people were speaking today or that this culture today was related to the Maya at all.
Yeah, there was this long-standing bias that it was not the Mayan language, and it took a Russian scholar who was totally isolated from the rest of the academic community, who just simply opened up Maya dictionaries and figured out a correlation between the sounds the glyphs were making and the actual still spoken Maya language of Yucatec.
Wow.
There's like 30, there used to be 33 languages, but two of them are like on the cusp. We may be down to 31, but there's a
Wow.
lot of Maya languages right now, but in the
Wow.
past there were less.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or at least scholars say that. I actually have never liked that. I can't understand how, if when we showed up they had 31 languages, how did a culture under acculturation and duress, uh, how did it fluoresce into 31 languages from just a few before contact?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. But
Uh-huh.
I'm not that kind of expert, and I've argued to my heart's content with the linguists who stick to their guns.
Next time you go back in time, you can go to check out the Maya and ask them how many languages
Yeah,
you
I
got.
definitely wouldn't go back to the Maya. They would sacrifice me before the sun went down.
That's fair.
That would be uncool.
It's interesting. You're talking about the Russian guy. We had another of your great courses alum, Philip Dayleader, who did great courses on the Crusades and medieval Europe.
Oh,
And he was talking about at one point, he said, if in a perfect world, if you wanted to study history or archaeology, you would go to college and somebody would assign you a field. And he was like, he feels like a lot of times people go into a line of research where they have all of these presuppositions and opinions already. And so they're not approaching it necessarily as objectively as they might if they were just sort of dropped in.
I think that's a valid opinion. That was the opinion of my mentor, Linda Sheely. She would lecture us all the time in graduate school that we had all already been poisoned by all the books we read and the things we thought we knew, and that the paradigm shifting discoveries would come from none of us because we were already poisoned, and to always talk to people from outside our field with fresh eyes because that's where it was coming from.
Oh,
And to
interesting.
keep our ears open for that.
Yeah.
I like though. I hear some hesitation in your voice, and I as somebody who gets very passionate about interests, I could see that having it as flip side as well.
Well, I will say that I have received a avalanche of theory emails that can be exhausting. I try to answer everybody who writes me, but some of it's really kind of out there. There's I'm still looking though. I'm listening to Sheely. One of these guys might just have something brilliant to say, but most of them are really just oxygen thieves.
Well, you have an app. You have a Maya calendar app
Yeah.
that's awesome. And I'm wondering, do you get a lot of people write to you with like ancient aliens or, you know, space theories? Or...
Hey, this just in. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it's Jerry.
Hey.
I've been thinking.
That's just in. Jerry Porter shows up after his heroic car chase against the Nazis. Against all odds, he's here.
Welcome, Jerry. Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I've been thinking a lot about Mayans.
Who hasn't?
Well, good to hear. Good to hear that. What do you got, Jerry?
Now, let me ask you: is there a specific type of motorcycle that the Mayans like to ride? Do you
The
get people?
tuk-tuk. The tuk-tuk
Yeah.
is quite popular in the Maya world these days.
Are you familiar? There's isn't there a famous motorcycle club, the Mayans?
I believe, what was that, a Tarantino thing? I know what
Maybe
you're
you're
talking
right.
about. They all,
Yes.
I think vampires are involved.
Were you stuck behind the Mayan bike gang on the way home, Jerry? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Pete, I'm sorry, Jerry interrupted you, but you were asking
Oh
an
no,
excellent
that's
question.
beautiful. Oh, I was just curious. We were talking about Ed's got this really wonderful Mayan calendar app.
Oh,
But I was wondering if that generates a lot of people asking you, you know, a lot of ancient alien stuff or a lot of, you know, end of the calendar stuff.
That, not so much, probably in large part because I didn't put my contact information on that. But I have just recently updated and improved and finally made it free. I had this stupid idea that I made it like 15 years ago, but it correlates to my calendar and it does fun things like calculate your birthday and tell you your personality and destiny. And I used to charge 99 cents for it, and I just never found another developer that could help me change it. But now it's free and it's updated and it's cool and it's on Android too, not just on iPhone.
cool.
It's a fun little piece. It's got
Yeah,
it's
it's very
hard
cool.
science and all of the math behind it is all very vetted and ancient, and then the personality and destiny birthday app is all based on Maya daykeeper wisdom, not some kind of like Jose Arguelles daykeeper system sort of thing. So it's fun, and I get people sometimes sending me nice emails about it. I had a
cool.
weird situation where the birthday things is kind of like a zodiac.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And somebody in one of the Ivy League schools did a long study of people's birthdays of their Greek horoscope versus their Maya horoscope and whether or not they felt it suited them. And his study determined that people felt much more seen by the Maya system than the Greek system.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just that the information was more accurate to them or something, or more
Yeah,
meaningful.
the way it was put together, this kind, there are 20 day names, and so you're one of the 20 day names. And it has personality traits, what you're best for, what your good job should be, and negative traits to avoid. But a lot of people connected with it. My own, I'm Keeb, which
Okay.
is which says you're an irresponsible husband and father, but people like you, so you're financially stable and your family profits anyway. Like,
Oh, beautiful.
damn, that hit me right in the face.
Oh man,
That was
thanks.
that was very accurate. Okay.
So what's the
That's
name of the app? What's it actually called if people want to look for it?
Maya Calendar on Android and iPhone, and it's by me, Edwin Barnhart.
Awesome.
There's 30 of them out there, and I'm like number 85 on the list of Maya things.
That's not
But
right.
that's the way it goes sometimes. Scholarship's a hard sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of, so Tom and Jerry and I have all lived in the Midwest at some point in our life. I spent like 10 years there in high school and college. And in that entire time, I knew zero. I had never heard of like the Hopewell culture or Adena culture, these massive earthworks and civilizations. And I think about that in respect to these movies too, that so clumsily handle anything to do with, the ancient Americas, if it's handled at all. And why do you feel like do you feel like these things, there's sort of a lack of common knowledge about these things, of our own history, and if so, what would you attribute that to?
American exceptionalism and relentless generations of manifest destiny and just sweeping everything Indian out of our way. And,
Yeah.
the early generations, were not aware of how complex a lot of these things were. And they plowed them down, especially in places like Ohio, to put in
Mm-hmm.
fields and put in, aqueduct systems and things like that. But we got to a point where we just successfully erased it. Even the things that were too big to ignore, like the mounds, which I call earthen pyramids,
Uh-huh.
were then explained as giants or Atlanteans or all sorts of things. And
Yeah.
we just got to a point, generation after generation didn't uh, didn't care about it until it just disappeared from our consciousness.
It,
I,
it's
you know,
it's. Oh, so go ahead, Jerry.
I gotta say, Pete, you you nailed it. I mean, the more I kind of look up, is it Cahokia and the these civilizations, and if you watch, even just listen to documentaries on it, sometimes they're like big civilizations larger than the largest mound pyramid, and there's a Flying J travel plaza next to it, and then people lived here, and they had a big pyramid, and then they did now it's farmland. And you're like,
Yeah.
dude, it sounds huge, and we know nothing, and I keep looking for more.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm sure some of that is, well, if you pave over it, we don't know what's there, or
Yeah.
whatever. Or if it's just a mound, it's a mound, and that was a mound. But
But even what's there, like last time I was visiting my dad in Ohio, Ed, I was listening to your great courses, and I went down and went to some of the Hopewell mounds. I went to Serpent Mound, and these things are breathtaking, and it's just spectacular. Like some of the most incredible things I've seen, and I'm just
Did
like,
you
how?
visit Newark?
Yes,
The
yes,
Newark Octagon and the earthworks there? Those
yeah,
were
yeah,
amazing. And
yeah,
ironically saved by a golf course.
yeah.
They should have been plowed down, but they were golf course. And they made nice banks.
Well, what was the one? The one was like
geez.
they turned it into a during the Civil War it was during World War I, and they like bulldozed it to make a training ground for the soldiers.
Oh man.
A very typical story. I mean,
Yeah.
so many of these things have been destroyed. Heck, I mean, one of the oldest mounds in the Americas is on the LSU campus. And it's now known to be like near 3500 BCE.
Is that the
Wow.
Poverty
But for
Point one?
generations, it was just the place where the tailgating occurred.
Mm.
And
Wow.
there was actually a truck that wrecked into the mound.
Oh man.
And as they were like repairing the area, they realized that there were some artifacts in it. And then now they realized that it's like one of the oldest mounds in America, and it was just where drunk footballers would hang out.
Biff and
I,
Moose are rich now from all the stuff they found.
so, but if you study archaeology, not yes, we're talking about the Americas, but if we were to go back and look at like Persepolis or any of the places that are just throughout antiquity, where they just sort of where in the were the Crusaders just tailgating outside of Palmyra or wherever it is, you know what I mean? Is that just sort of common, like who cares about this old stuff? Do you think that's just the way either generations, societies think?
I think so, honestly. I think that is a human perennial, that there's a
Hmm.
small portion of us that are thrilled about history, and the rest of us, don't give a shit at all.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All of us experienced it in high school. I was the guy that was like, history's my favorite class. And other people would be like, history
Yeah,
sucks. I fall
look at
asleep
you
in it all the
now.
Yeah.
time. It's just
This
a
toilet's your new
class.
favorite class.
Like I was in the minority there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have always had people that are interested in our past and people that aren't. I love the statement that we're closer in time to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the pyramids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all through those periods, there were people who were studiers of history. And we have their chronicles, and they're invaluable to us archaeologists these days. But there was also tourism back there. There's some book that's called like Road to Ruins that's all about journals of Romans who were taking year-long holidays,
Oh wow.
uh, uh, touring like the pyramids of Egypt, and they
Wow.
were doing Yelp reviews about what was good inn to stay in and where were the good restaurants, and
Yeah.
they were buying crappy little souvenirs of the pyramid outside of the pyramid on a little table where some guy was selling them.
Yeah.
We've always had this sort of thing, Jerry. So you're right. It's kind of perennial, and I consider myself one of these people. This generation's guys who care about this kind of esoteric knowledge, spend my life learning it, and hand it off to the next generation so we don't forget it. And to what Pete was saying, we went through generations in America where it was probably politically incorrect to be talking complimentary about Indian culture. They were something to be erased.
Yeah. They were the bad guys.
Yeah.
So how do you, okay, speaking as a very ignorant, like Jerry and Pete have run circles around me constantly on the show for the last 10 years about history, archaeology, any of this stuff. Where do I and my ignorant brothers and sisters, where do we start with this stuff? Because I'm interested in this stuff, but I've never, there are things you are interested in, you latch onto and you dive into it and you can't get enough. And then there are things you're interested in that you're like, oh, that's cool. I'm not doing that right now, so I'm not doing it. But, one of these days, in my 80s, I'll read a book about something. Like, where would somebody like me start if I just want to start to scratch the surface of what this world of history and archaeology has to offer me?
My advice is to start with the travel.
Oh, okay.
Go there. Pick one of these places that you think are mildly interesting but you don't know anything about, and actually go there.
Okay.
There's, in education today, there's a trend that talks about, I think the term is like experiential learning.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
if you first go somewhere and experience it, it becomes incorporated in your life. And then when you want to study deeper, it means something to you because it was a personalized experience. So,
makes a ton of
I'd
sense.
start with, next time that you hate your job and you want to go take a vacation, do it to a pyramid instead of a beach.
Okay.
And that kind
love that.
of sparks your curiosity in a way that you're motivated to look into it deeper.
That sounds great. I'm going to do that. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm going to do it.
You have a lot of stuff near you, Tom.
I do.
Well, so
Yeah.
if you had to come up, Ed, with a slogan for the the great ignorant brothers and sisters of Tommy.
Wait, why did they get that
If-
name? Why did they
you know,
name
like-
me all of a sudden?
No, if you had to come up with a slogan as to why these things are important, like have a Coke and a smile, or whatever it is, just do it. If you had to have so that you would not, and history and all the tales and the pyramids, all the things we have to learn, the artifacts, all of what is great about archaeology or antiquity or learning and history that sort of gets shoehorned into you being I was the esoteric weird kid. Like if we had to completely open that up and have it, blossom all around the room and engage all the Tommy's ignorant brothers and sisters, what would your slogan be?
I mean, along the lines of my advice to Tom, it would be go see for yourself.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's
That's really
nothing
good.
like, I mean, Pete was talking about how cool it was to see the serpent mounds. I mean, you can read about a serpent mound book all day long, but when you're actually there
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you're standing up on that observation tower and you're looking at it, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
somebody made this 1,000 years ago? Maybe in the case of the serpent mounds, maybe 2,000 years
Yeah.
ago? What?
Yeah. And they were, what would amaze me too is I don't know where the current research is on this, but they were saying that the Serpent Mound is actually in the middle of a very shallow meteor impact crater.
Oh wow.
Yep.
And
It's
actually,
on
when
the
you
edge of
stand
it.
there, yeah, when you stand there, you could see the rim like all around, and it's fascinating that they somehow knew like something about this site was really special.
Yes, I think that all of those folks had a mind towards what I'd call sacred topography. Whether they understood that a meteor hit there is unlikely, honestly. But they did probably recognize that, for hundreds of miles around, nothing looks like this.
Yeah.
This is a special piece of geography.
Yeah.
Do you think they could have thought to themselves, well, we know that a meteor has already struck here. So, well, I
This
mean,
is the
honestly,
safest
what-
place to
yeah.
build.
What
To put a
are,
serpent mound.
what are the chances?
Well, according to Graham Hancock, they knew it did at exactly 12,000 years ago, and then,
Oh yeah. Is Graham Hancock full of it?
well, I don't believe his theories. I've had the pleasure to talk to Graham Hancock. I spent a couple of days with him in Palenque. I
Oh, that's
personally
cool.
find him a very smart and interesting guy. And
Yeah.
I was honest that I don't believe in his theories. We had some talk about that, not too adversarial, but
Sure.
I've never, you know, I think the difference is people are allowed to have their theories,
Yeah.
and his are very popular. And it does frustrate the hell out of archaeologists, me included on some levels, but, you know, you know what's never good for academia is book burning.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
good
this
point.
guy's got to run his course. The truth will be discovered in the competition of ideas. It always is. And right now we're in a place where, folks like Graham Hancock have the mic. And it's our job to try to get our word in there too. But ultimately, you don't dispel wrong ideas by stuffing them down.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. It's fascinating. I'm seeing a parallel with Indiana Jones a little bit, and I'm wondering if how many people come to archaeology through stuff like Graham Hancock because he paints such an interesting picture that people get interested in this stuff and they start learning more about it, and then they're like, oh, well, this is what really happened. But turns out I really like archaeology. It turns out I really like I want to learn more about the Maya art.
Lots of people. I would argue millions of people. It's a terribly unpopular opinion of mine among my colleagues. But, I will say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. On some levels, we owe folks like Graham Hancock and that whole genre a debt of gratitude. Millions of people are interested in archaeology now. And many of them find their ways to more legitimate information and find they love the whole field. And
Well,
honestly, I was inspired by Indiana Jones. And all of that, most of Indiana Jones's stuff is honestly crap archaeologically. But it doesn't, I don't forget that it was the romance of these movies that inspired me to become an archaeologist, and I'm grateful.
Well, so would you subscribe to the Saint Augustine quote? The truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose, and it will defend itself.
Yes, except for the internet.
Yeah, they didn't have that back
He did not see the internet coming.
then. Yeah.
The lion didn't see the internet coming.
Yeah. The lion is AI generated.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
the
Saint
lion's an
Augustine.
AI.
The irony is, I'm reading about Saint Augustine on the internet. I get the Saint Augustine quote from the internet.
The challenge is for those that have other alternative views, alternative to the alternative views. We got to up our game. We got to be out there and in a place where people can get our information too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing my
Yeah.
darndest. I have a YouTube channel right now. I cringe every time I see one of my videos, but I think it's it's important to meet the public where they are.
Nice. Yeah.
Where do people find that? What's your YouTube channel? What's it called?
Archaeologist Ed Barnhart. Got
Awesome.
about 35 videos out there now. It's finally getting a little traction.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Indiana Jones Minute Army. Make it happen.
Hey,
Get that app, go to the YouTube
come
channel.
visit me. I'm
I don't know
out
that we
there
have it
trying
on.
to share. I also have a podcast, of course. I have Archeo Ed.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
Once I travel, I'll start listening to it.
Big fan of that. And I can't.
It is good when you're stuck with nothing else to do. I've had a number of comments that say like your podcast is my favorite to fall asleep to. I don't know how I feel about that.
Thanks.
Archeo bed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Jerry,
Excellent.
was
Excellent,
you
Jerry.
appearing? Was that Professor Christy Porter's This Just In, or does she actually have a This Just In?
Yeah, no, me showing up and coming through like the Kool-Aid band was just
Oh, it's
was
beautiful.
kind of. No, wait a minute.
Oh my God! Wait a second!
What are we all talking about?
Oh my Lord!
Coming in over the wire atop the giant tower that overlooks the Great Serpent Mound. Let's see. This just coming in
Is there
from
a telegraph in
Professor
there?
Christy Porter. A question for Ed. Boop boop.
Beep.
What is the greatest undiscovered artifact that you think will be discovered?
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Jeez, that's an on-the-spot question here. Greatest artifact.
It can be larger than an artifact. It could be like, was it Genghis Khan's tomb or where he was buried or something? It could be a place.
Oh, I have one.
Ooh.
And I think this is going to be found one of these days. In Cambodia, they had a sword that was like Excalibur.
Oh.
The king of Angkor and the Khmer society, whoever wielded this sword, wielded ultimate power, and they were the king.
Wow.
And it was there during Angkor's years, and it was kept even after Angkor, that when the Thais took over. And it was in Cambodia and in the possession of every Cambodian king right up to the Vietnam War.
Whoa.
There are pictures of this actual sword from like the 1970s. But when the palace got sacked, the sword disappeared. And so the sword, which is an ancient sword and supposedly a magical artifact, is out there somewhere. Every year, I'm watching all the time. It's called like the Preah Khan. It's the Preah Khan sword.
Wow.
And it was only lost in the 1970s. It was an actual artifact. So I think we could find that one again.
Now, if somebody just grabbed it and knows what they have, does that make it harder to find than something that's just buried for thousands of years? Do you think that would
Yeah.
be harder for that to surface? Yeah.
I mean,
They're actively hiding it from us, Tom.
Yeah.
do you think there's a Donovan out there?
Yeah.
What?
Donovan has that from Last Crusade. Donovan.
Oh, he could. He could. Well,
Yeah.
no, hold on. That guy like busted into dust. He's done.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I remember
That guy.
Yeah.
No, but if
Well,
I
can
could
you
find
can,
it, I
can
could
you
just
imagine?
go on to Cambodian TV and be like, "I am now your king,"
Wow.
Oh, wow.
which I would never do. That would be a horrible job. Being the king of Cambodia would be the worst end of my career ever. But that's an actual artifact that we had and then lost.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's a
recently,
good one.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. That, when you're seeing like an artifact, like, oh, there's pictures of it from the 70s. I'm like, wait a minute. That makes me an
but
artifact.
it's ancient, and
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
like every other year, somebody says they dug it up in a swamp or a rice paddy or something. But I look at it and I look at the old photos, like, nope, that guy's wrong again. That's not.
That's
the one.
incredible that you have photos of it, so you
But
can
there's
say like,
photos.
no, that's not it, or that is it.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
For your audience, the Preah Khan.
Okay.
I feel like we've talked very little about Indiana Jones.
Who?
I appreciate
Oh.
you guys talking about things that are.
What do you want to say
interesting.
about Indiana Jones? You're here. This is your chance. This is our last.
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh! Hold on, let me check my notes. Then how long?
Okay,
do we
yeah.
have?
Yes.
as long as you want.
Yeah. This is all going to disappear like that sword.
Hold on, I'll speed run it.
Okay.
Things that
That's
I
exciting.
thought. I took some notes while I looked at it. And I haven't watched all of y'all's episodes, so I don't want to repeat myself. I
that's
put a
fine.
note down that I thought it was funny that Baz was almost like Gollum with the
Yeah.
with his obsession with the Antikythera device. He had to have it
Yeah.
ripped away from him.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that they call the graphicos,
Yeah.
when it's a square thing, and then Indiana Jones knows to just destroy it, which is his favorite thing to do with artifacts.
Of course.
And he finds that disc, and the graphicos is a fake artifact. They just made that up for the show, but it looks just like the Phaistos disc, which was found in Crete in the palace. And it has a totally undeciphered script.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm looking
And
at
so
this
it
right
was
now.
interesting that they used something that is so, like, to me as an archaeologist, I'm like, I know that artifact.
Yeah.
But they once again kind of turned it into something else. That was interesting that they picked something that is in the museum in Crete
Yeah.
that and then just kind of turned it into something right around the Antikythera device, which is real.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, because Pete's been suffering greatly during this movie because of stuff like this. Like, why would they take something that people know about, that people know is real, that they can tell you about it in real life? And we said this about, like, I think we said this in Crystal Skull too, about, like, I forget why. Oh, like, just like, like the Nazca lines and things like that. They're just kind of like being almost intentionally silly with some of this stuff.
They had like an Aztec sun disk in
Yeah.
in Peru, and they
Yeah, that was my minute that last time that did stab me. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're not trying to make a documentary, guys.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
trying to make a fun movie.
I think that's my
and
point,
they know their audience. If anybody knows the demographics, it's them, and they probably determined that 99% of people won't know jack about this.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
it's
the
a
irony.
nice visual. Let's just do it.
Yeah. So, like, do you think, like we said, that, a lot of people have been inspired to become archaeologists from Indiana Jones. Is it then ironic that those people will be the ones who are suffering through the historical inaccuracies in all these movies?
Yeah, I guess that is an irony. Though I maintain my love of them, even though they stab me all the time.
There you go.
That's it's okay. I found it interesting that an artifact that I really love, when it revealed, I was like, oh my God, say it's the Phaistos stone and that you know how to translate it. But then the Graphicos. I don't know. That was bullshit. We don't know where Archimedes' tomb is, but it should be in Syracuse. So I was pleased to see that the ear of Dionysus actually exists, and it's near Syracuse. Somebody sort of did their homework on that one. That was nice. That was a distinct possibility that he could have been there. It was at least near Syracuse.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was interesting. Again, you guys might have brought this up. There are so many time traveling movies where they say, where are you going to go? I'm going to go back and kill Hitler.
Yeah.
But this is the first movie in
Yeah.
history where a Nazi says he's going
Yeah.
to go back and kill Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a novelty in my mind.
That is
Did
pretty
you guys
cool.
find
That was
anything
one of our
different?
favorite things in the movie, or at least
Yeah.
one of my favorite things. Yeah.
Wow, a Nazi want to kill Hitler? And then he blows it?
Yeah. Dummy.
Wow, that's fun. They even got to the point of wearing Nazi uniforms. They were ready to just go
Yeah.
there and kill him.
Yeah.
That was that was an amazing, funny flip. And my last little thing, I love just the Indiana Jones. He's so one punch man. Even as an old dude, he can just punch somebody once,
Yeah.
and bam, they're down. And then at the end of the movie, he gets the same treatment by
Yeah.
Helena. She like one punch girls him out. Just
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's back in the future. Like, this was the moment for you. You've taken 1,000 punches, and
Yeah.
some girl knocks you out and ruins your day. What the hell? That was rough.
That was. He had it coming, though.
I got
He's
that
being
out of my
silly.
system, boys. Okay, now you can actually show up. Thanks for letting me. Let me do a little bit of venting.
That's what we're all here for, is venting and sharing and learning. Not in that order.
And,
I
you
loved
know,
it, and I look forward to the next one.
What? Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe we'll pick Helena. That Shia LaBeouf. God, you blew that, man.
Yeah.
You had the ring. I mean, you were like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, and you screwed it up, man.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the best.
well, as you know,
Apparently
sort
so.
of the franchise winds down, we've been sharing a few, sort of larger, transcendent or overarching views or things we've learned, and you just, I think, dropped a real great one, and this is for, I think, all of us, the Indiana Jones podcast, hosts here. You said, quote, "They're not trying to make a documentary, guys."
Yeah, come on.
I think you could just copy and paste that over our entire season 5 times.
I feel like I already knew that, but it is good. It is good to know. I'm glad someone's backing me up.
You gotta be story driven. I guess part of the
Sure.
reason is I'm a storyteller. All my archaeology experience, I share it through storytelling,
Yeah.
and I enjoy the stories they create. And every good story fudges a little of the lines. Not that mine ever do,
Of course not.
but you know
Well,
what
Ed-
I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. It's about the story.
Sure. You got to spin a good yarn. Goose it when you need to. Well, Ed, thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Thank you.
We're so glad we got you in one of our last episodes ever? Question mark, I guess. Yeah.
Don't do that to me, Tom.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
need more from you guys.
Okay, there'll be more from us. Don't you worry.
There'll be more.
But
Yeah,
we're
there's
seem to be
that whole
plumb out
young
of
Indiana Jones series. You guys could delve into that.
We could, couldn't we? But somehow I don't. Okay. But tell everybody one more time where they can find your YouTube channel and your podcast and your great courses.
Thank you very much. On YouTube, I'm archaeologist Ed Barnhart. Got a good thing rolling there. I also have a podcast called Archeo Ed with AEO, not the English spelling of EO. And I am the director of Maya Exploration Center, where we do educational travel experiences for folks. I've got all sorts of things going on, and if really in today's world, all I needed to say is Google me. If you put in Ed Barnhart, you'll find all this stuff. You don't have to remember all those things. Just
That is
Ed
true.
Barnhart, and you'll find
Yeah.
all the things I do. And I've dedicated my life to sharing this with folks, and I hope your audience comes and sees what I'm up to.
That's amazing.
And
hope
I
so,
definitely
too.
recommend everybody Google Ed Barnhart, Indiana Jones, and listen to his podcast episode about Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. It's very
Well,
good.
thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys. I love what you've done.
Aw,
Thank you, Ed.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody out there, thank you for listening. And go check out all of Ed's stuff. And I would say check out our stuff, but we're running out of stuff. But come back next week for whatever stuff we got left right here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Nobody had a little tag. That's okay.
Wait, what was you had a great tagline though. Go see it. Or what was it? Just go see it. Go experience it.
Go see it for yourself.
Yeah.
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 Beautiful.